We want to get to a guest here, which is a little unexpected, but I'm thrilled to get her. Catherine Herridge from the Fox News Channel is joining us right now, even as Sean Spicer is at the podium, kind of previewing the fact that Sally Yates is going to testify this afternoon. Catherine, what can you tell us about that expected testimony?
Well, Sally Yates is the former acting attorney general, and she held that office for about 3 weeks under President Trump. She's an Obama administration holdover. And at the heart of today's hearing is whether she gave the White House emphatic warnings in late January about the contacts between then National Security Advisor Mike Flynn and the Russian ambassador here in Washington, Sergei Kislyak. Just to back up a little bit for your listeners, because I need to have some context here. At the end of December, there were a series of phone calls between Flynn and the Russian ambassador, right about the same time that the Obama White House imposed sanctions for meddling in the U.S. election. The vice president then, in mid-January, the vice president-elect went on the Sunday talk shows and said that there was no discussion about sanctions during those conversations. Sally Yates knew that was not the case based on transcripts that were part of a counterintelligence investigation by the FBI, and she went to the White House and told them, according to anonymous sources, that Flynn could be subject to blackmail. So what we have today is really the first public testimony on the record of one of the principal players during this critical 6-week period leading up to the resignation of the National Security Advisor.
Catherine, I heard part of one of your reports earlier on Fox, and today, just in the last hour or so, I've been seeing updates that President Obama warned President Trump about Michael Flynn, even during the transition. How come we hadn't heard that before?
Well, I hate to sound like I've been doing this forever, but I have been doing it for over 15 years. In my experience, we've seen it, I think, over the weekend, is that you have a series of anonymously sourced reports that kind of, if you were in the military, say, prep the battlefield for what's to come. And in this case, I think sort of set the table for the testimony today from Sally Yates. So I don't think the timing is a coincidence, though your listeners can make up their own minds.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, we'll look forward to more of your reports and after that testimony takes place this afternoon. I know you've got a lot on your plate, Catherine. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, that came as a little bit of a surprise because we put in a request for Catherine as close to the top of the hour as we could get her, knowing that Sean Spicer's about to go do a live news conference and knowing that hearing with Sally Yates is set to get underway in about an hour there in Washington. So we'll carry some of that when it happens, just to find out of interest what Yates is going to say. I think the interesting thing about that story is that all of the mainstream media outlets that I've watched will report that Sally Yates got fired by Donald Trump. Basically, they're suggesting she was fired because she didn't toe the Trump line. Well, she got fired because she was an Obama political appointee, effectively in charge of the Justice Department, and wouldn't back up the policies of the administration. Of course she got fired. The fact that she got fired wasn't anything, there was no political intrigue there. They probably should have fired her sooner. But they had their attorney general candidate tied up in confirmation hearings. And she ended up kind of being in charge of the department. The same Sally Yates that was there when Hillary Clinton didn't get indicted and all these other things that were overlooked. And she was a political hack for Barack Obama, which is why she got fired. So I can't imagine anything she's going to say today is going to reflect well on Donald Trump or anybody either currently in his administration or formerly in his administration. Her goal will be singly to make them look bad. That's why she's going there today. That's why we're finding out, as you heard Catherine say a few minutes ago, suddenly they're claiming that Barack Obama knew about this and warned Donald Trump in one of their meetings at the White House before he was sworn in that he shouldn't hire Michael Flynn. But Trump did it anyway.